The Browns. They have not lost a preseason game, since 2016, because they were undefeated in the preseason last year. They're 1-0, but they looked very good from the time I watched a lot of it. And they looked sharp, they looked competent, and they defeated the New York Giants. Baker Mayfield was good. Tyrod Taylor was good. Our friend Mike Snyder of WTAM in Cleveland. And, Mike, I don't want to, it is a incredibly small sample size. So I don't want to hey, look at the Browns, they're back. At the same time.
I hear you guys. Yeah.
At the same time, Mike, was that not encouraging?
I think it was. You're going to be with you guys again. I think there were some real positives last night, and you got to keep it all in perspective. That was one of the things I talked about this morning. I certainly was encouraged with Baker, and I'm looking forward to even talking to Stan about it. But you have to remember elsewhere, Brandon Whedon was 9 of 11 for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns in his game. Cody Kessler was 13 of 17 last night for Jacksonville. So it is preseason game 1. But I think collectively for the Browns, I think more than the stats and the score, if you watched it, as you did, Matt, I think to see Baker just kind of run the offense the way he did, I think that's very encouraging. The Browns have to feel very good about what they saw last night.
Okay, I thought also Tyrod Taylor, he was sharp. That touchdown pass to Njoku was in a tight window, and then he dives in for the touchdown. So you think back to where they were a year ago with their quarterbacks, and again, Deshaun Kaiser looked good in his first preseason game too. But they had Deshaun Kaiser, Cody Kessler, Brock Osweiler at this time last year, and now they've got Tyrod Taylor, Baker Mayfield, and Drew Stanton. I would argue, Mike, that from a talent standpoint, again, small sample size, but they have 3 better quarterbacks right now than they started with last year, which, if you're going to have any measure of success in the NFL, that's a good place to start, right?
Absolutely. That's exactly. You nailed it, Matt. There's no question. You can see it, and Tyrod Taylor has proven it in his career. And we saw an excellent drive by him yesterday, leading them downfield. And then Baker came on and really kind of did the things that they said he did, that he does. He's an accurate thrower. What I liked is he didn't really race to get out of the pocket. He used the pocket, stayed in it, worked around it. His lack of height did not seem to be a factor at all. And I think he put the ball where he needed to put it. On the over-the-middle throws, it was low for the receiver. And then he threw that high ball that only Njoku could get in the end zone. So those are the kind of things. And then when he did run, he ran very judiciously to get first downs, got out of bounds, not trying to look more. We had the Manziel story here a few years ago where he just looked like he was running around out there. Everything Baker did last night pretty much was with a purpose, and really with the exception of a sack he took that took him out of field goal range, I think his game was pretty flawless last night.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he showed why a lot of folks thought he was the most ready to play in the NFL. And I was surprised. He played better than I anticipated. The reality is I want to see him play when it counts, though. I mean, you get a lot of basic formations, a lot of basic defenses. But, again, he did the things you asked him to do. He didn't throw an interception. And I thought, like you, he was poised in the pocket. He showed great accuracy. And but I think the jury is still out. We got to, hold our horses a little bit and wait to see.
Mike.
Yeah, I agree.
Mike, Tyrod Taylor, again, 5 for 5. Let's just say, though, and this is really putting – but this is what we do in talk radio. This is really putting the cart before the horse. But let's just say Tyrod Taylor is solid in what we expect him to be, and as the season progresses is doing a nice job with the Browns, whatever that means, 6, 7, 8 kind of wins, competitive, whatever that means. But Baker Mayfield, behind the scenes, in the rest of these preseason games, continues to play well and is consistent, and behind the scenes continues to look good. Is there a point in the year, do you think, where they say, look, Tyrod, you're not doing anything wrong, but we need to find out more about this number 1 pick? Is that something the Browns are going to have to talk about? Do you think we get to that point where we see Baker Mayfield in the regular season?
Well, Matt, I'll answer it this way. I hope that is a problem that they have to deal with, because I still think 6, 7, 8 wins is really being optimistic. And based on where they were, we have to remind ourselves where they've been. Even though they've added a lot of new talent, and some of the young guys you hope are going to get better. But if we're at a point where you could say the season is still alive and you've got 8 wins. I don't think you're changing anything. I don't envision that. I do think, though, that what I think is more likely, maybe you get to a point where even if Tyrod and you're winning 4 or 5 games, let's say, and you're later in the year now, where you know you're not in the playoff race, I think that's when then you would have to make the move. And if you really get to that point, and gosh, for me to really even talk about the Browns being in a playoff race, I really think I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yes.
I'm not going to allow me to do that. But I just think that if it goes well with Tyrod, and the team's even playing pretty well, and the record's not what you'd like it to be, I think then you got to start looking. And I don't know how early that is. Again, their first 2 games, home to Pittsburgh, at New Orleans, they start out 0-2, and that's the most likely scenario, I think, even with what I saw last night. Now the pressure really starts to ramp up, even on Hugh Jackson. So when you get to that point, I think we just need to see when we get into the season and things just can take on a whole different look from where we are talking about this team now.
So let's talk about the 3,000-pound elephant in the corner, because I wonder if the Browns are just snake-bitten. Antonio Callaway goes out there, looks fantastic. 3 catches, 87 yards, 1 of them for a touchdown, a dynamic throw from Baker. And we see this kid that looks special, but he may be suspended for the first 4 games or so. I mean, are we getting set up here again?
Well, John Dorsey said last night, and this was the GM, I was wondering if he would even make the trip, and there he was. Not only did he make the trip, he basically played the whole game. So the Browns, at least at this point, they are going to stick with this kid. Dorsey's the general manager. He knew all the baggage that was there when he drafted him in the 4th round, and I guess even if there would be a suspension because he was already in the system, so as you point out, Stan, there's a very good chance that something like that could happen. But they said they sat down, talked with him. They really believe what he said, that he had not been smoking marijuana in the car when he was cited. They did frown on him being, well, what were you doing at 3 a.m? I mean, there are a lot of, with all his background, my gosh. But Dorsey insisted last night that they're going to stay with this young man. So even if they would lose him for several games, they're still looking big picture. They think they can help get him right, and if they do, they'll be rewarded. But now I think, though, there's no question if there's another slip-up, and we're so tired of this here. I think that's the fan base here, a lot of the fans, and we've gone through Josh Gordon for 5 years now, guys, and it seems like 10, and now you bring another talented, well, we've heard that before. So I think the fan base, even with what they saw last night, no one's real excited. I mean, the rope is not going to be extended much longer for him, but it sounds like they're going to stay with him for now.
Visiting with Mike Snyder, WTAM in Cleveland, about the Browns' preseason win last night over the Giants. I want to ask you, Denzel Ward, the other first-round draft pick, I thought, not a ton of playing time. I thought looked pretty good. What are they saying up there? What are the coaches saying? What's the vibe they're getting from their number 4 pick in the draft, the former Buckeye?
Well, I think what we're seeing from the former Buckeye is he's out there with the first group. He got a little excited yesterday, got that taunting
penalty, yeah.
Yeah. He was not happy about that, and I think that's something they're going to run the rein in. But Greg Williams, the coordinator, I mean, he looks like a guy that I've seen up close now for last year and this year. He likes his guys kind of on that edge. So, this is that balance we have in football. We want guys at that edge, but yet we want to yell at them when they go over it, when they're always teetering on it. So I think he did fine. I mean, obviously, you don't want to see that. That was you don't used to need that, and he's better than that. He doesn't need to do that. But he wasn't the only one. Jarvis Landry, probably our most recognized leaders pro right now that we have in terms of talent, he got one right away. So it went on both ways. I will say this, guys. For HBO, they got the executives there got to be saying, "Oh man, this is the right year to have the Browns."
No doubt.
We got Baker Mayfield, we got taunting calls, we got Des Bryant wants to come in, we got a guy getting arrested or getting cited. We got storylines here. It's all good, so they're all happy about it in that regard. I think none of us can wait till next Tuesday.
So let's stick there with these draft picks. Obviously, 3 of the top 4 draft picks were playing last night. Do we feel like the Browns got it right, watching Saquon go for 36 on 1 touch and getting out the game?
Well, I do a show. We do kind of a topical show after our regular morning show, Stan, and I know one of our panelists today said, "Hey, this is why I told you they should have taken Saquon and then gotten their quarterback." that first run was electric. It was, and even though he only didn't do much the next three, but you see exactly why they took him where they did. I really don't think that the Browns. Here's what I wanted them to do at that point, and as great as Saquon may end up being and go on to be, I still felt that, hey, look, we have been looking for a quarterback since Bernie Kosar played. So you had your choice of all of the guys who were there with the first pick. Don't reinvent the wheel here. You need a quarterback to develop. So they took Baker. I think, to me, they approached the draft the right way. That can be debated. I think right now, for this team, to me, again, a really quality running back would certainly help you. I hope Chubb is better than he showed last night, but I don't think he had a lot of help. But again, I still think they did the right thing by taking the quarterback, and we'll see how it plays out. But Barkley looks like he's going to be everything that everyone thought he would be coming out of college.
Last thing for Mike Snyder, WTAM in Cleveland. You mentioned Des Bryant. He had the tweet last night where say, "Hey, I'm Mr. Dorsey. I'm coming to Cleveland for a workout." Is the fan base excited of the possibility of maybe Des Bryant joining this football team?
I would say yes, especially after last night. And again, you know how things go, guys. I'm trying to keep things in perspective, but fan is short for fanatic. So people are, hey, we get Des Bryant, we got these guys. The fact that he even really wants to come here, I guess, is kind of a statement that he has an interest in coming here from where the Browns were. And it was kind of a strange night. John Dorsey said before the game, hey, I've been calling him. He never answers. And then during the game, he's tweeting that, hey, I'm going to be in the land next week. John Dorsey coming to see you. So it's the world we live in now. It's sports. It's a whole different world now. I guess that for the Browns, why would you turn your back? If this guy wants to play here for a year, I don't know. I'm looking at a young team that's developing. But, hey, Jarvis Landry, and you're taking a shot with Callaway. Hey, we're asking, can he help them right now? He probably can help them more than maybe any other receiver that's out there and available. They are going to look at some others as well, but why not? But I think people are a little excited that he even wants to, be here and help the Browns.
All right, Mike, that's great stuff. We appreciate your help all the time. And, hey, they're 1-0, haven't lost a preseason game in 2 years. So there's that. So
the streak is alive.
It is alive.
Let's see, I'll be interested. We'll use it as a gauge the next time I'm on with you guys, what we're talking about with the Browns, because it may be a very different tone. And if it's as positive, I think we'll all be happy about that.
Enjoy the day, though. It is It is a day to enjoy.
Yeah,
so
you only get a pack of gum for winning preseason games.
That's right. That's right.
This
All right.
is our bus. We love August here in Cleveland.